I wanted to do a little meditation from Discovering Buddhism 4, which is practicing devotion for your teachers. So let's just do that one. It's just a reminder for everyone, because sometimes I think we leap into these relationships with a bunch of attachment, and when things don't quite work out, then we get all freaked out. And I hear it happening with Westerners quite frequently. So the idea is to maybe think before you leap. So anyway, all right. So let's just settle into a nice, comfortable seated posture. And I see Brent's got a friend there. Yep. All right. So settle into a nice, comfortable seated posture. Oh, both feet flat on the floor, about a hip's width apart. And just kind of settle yourself in. Feel the sensation of your body on the floor, the chair, your hands in your lap. And align your shoulders with your hips and your ears with your shoulders. And imagine your spine is this, excuse me, beautiful string of pearls of light stretching from the base all the way up through the crown of the head and beyond. Just imagine you're lengthening your spine. And then from the crown of the head, just release any tension, relaxing your scalp and the forehead and the eyes, the nose, area around the mouth, back of the tongue, the jaw, your ears, your inner ears, back of the head. And allow your shoulders and shoulder blades to drop down, relaxing the throat and the chest and the belly and all of your limbs. And just take a nice deep breath. Just feel the sensation of the air as you inhale and exhale. And then turn your attention to any distractions that may be in your room. So sound on inside your home. You know, even our beloved pets can be a distraction when we're meditating. So just be aware, particularly if they want to be with you. So just allow that, all these distractions to be there. Just allow them to be there. And also then maybe distractions popping up on your screen, notifications. And then sound from outside. Smells, someone's making coffee or breakfast or lunch, wherever you are. And then we have these internal distractions, our mind, our body. So your body might be talking to you. Your mind might be busy. So just be aware of what's, arising right now in your mind. Just allowing all the thoughts to be there. Trying not to follow with your mind. Not to follow the thoughts, the stories. And then think of all the people in our life, our loved ones, our strangers, these ones we don't like so much. And so we're again going to come across them over this holiday period with, you know, organization parties, office parties, more family events, friend events, and sometimes you might turn up feeling a little uncomfortable or socially a bit shy, and see if you can approach the situation with curiosity, taking a step back, just being curious about your own internal story, and then maybe curious about the people. What are their lives like? What's going on for them? And just realizing that all of these people are equal. They all want to be happy. They don't want to suffer. And they all have this extraordinary capacity for a Buddha mind. So we'll just turn our attention this morning a little bit to this idea of having a trusted mentor, a spiritual guide, guru, a teacher, however you have heard that term. So we think, without some kind of a guide, without a spiritual guide, there is really no way to escape this ocean of cyclic existence and to reach full enlightenment. So a spiritual guide, a trusted mentor, is the foundation of all the paths to liberation. And it's really essential to achieve these, as we progress along the path, different spiritual states from just a regular old, conventional getting up, going to the bathroom, eating, to, enlightenment, having an enlightened mind. So you're thinking, you're meditating not just for your own well-being or peace of mind or good reputation, but you're taking the time now to meditate and accumulate vast stores of merit to be able to find a qualified guide, if you don't already have one, in order to reach a state of enlightenment, where you can then most skillfully benefit others. So we always want to develop in our heart a wish to find a teacher that can help to guide us. So think about why we might need a spiritual guide. So, we need a teacher to learn almost everything in life, from the time we are born until we die. So I always remember my first kindergarten teacher. And then my first grade teacher, Mrs. Channel. So these people taught me ABC, which enabled me to be able to read and study and learn. So, Lama Zopa Rinpoche would say your ABC teacher is also your guru. So, we needed a teacher to show us how to ride a bike. We needed someone to show us how to tie our shoelaces, how to read a clock. That's an analog clock. Because I remember when I was a child, when I was very little, I would look up at the clock in the kitchen and wonder when I was ever going to figure out how to be able to tell the time. It worried me quite a lot. I think it was my sister that eventually helped me figure that one out. So everywhere we've learned. And even now, if we kind of can't figure something out, we go online, ask Gemini. Gemini is also helping us. So think about your own examples of, you know, things you've learned from others. So just try and convince yourself that the teachers, have been and will continue to be extremely important to us in order to be able to learn new things in life. Now think about the significant teachers you've had in your life. This doesn't necessarily have to be in the Dharma world either, like my teacher, Mrs. Channel. Maybe there was a particular teacher in school or university or college or somewhere, or even in the workplace, or a relative, a friend, a parent. And think of the kindness they showed you and the benefits you gained from their efforts and their good qualities. And sometimes we take these people for granted because that's their job. But how kind of them to teach you. You're paying to go to your yoga class. You assume that the teacher knows what they're doing. But there's so much training that goes behind that one class you receive. How kind of them to stay in that tradition, how kind of them to stay as a yoga teacher so that you can, you know, have good health, mental stability, to generate a strong sense of appreciation and gratitude towards all of your teachers, the kindness they have shown you. And you can think of your spiritual teachers, how much time they would take to explain something to you or spend time with you. And now think about the great importance of having a spiritual teacher. to teach us what to practice and what to avoid. So, I often think of Lama Zopa Rinpoche, so much detail goes into all of these FPMT, texts, for, retreat prayer books, all these little prayer books. This whole team of people translating. Rinpoche says what prayer to do where, what to chant when, and why this particular mantra is so precious. I mean, we wouldn't have a clue otherwise. And all those extraordinary people who have translated the Dharma from Sanskrit, from Tibetan, so that we can read it. Otherwise, we wouldn't have a clue. And also, all the teachings we've had on what to avoid when practicing Dharma, how to avoid creating negative karma. And how wonderful it is to have people that can lead us on the path and kind of help to lead us out of samsara. And one of the things I hear Judith say in her, retirement place, where she's, there's lots of people in their 90s there and in their hundreds. And Judith's always, there's no Dharma here. So these people are sitting in their chairs, their minds are going, but there's nothing there really to support their practice, unless they have, I don't know if they have other kinds of practices. So, part of the spiritual guide's job is to bring us to full enlightenment. Sounds like an impossible goal, but, takes time. So this is where we, with anything, you want a decent teacher. You go to your yoga class, for example. You want a teacher that knows what they're doing, that's happy to learn how your body works or even how your mind works, so they can help you the best they can for your own progression along the path, take into account where you're at. It's the same with your spiritual teachers. They know, what to advise in terms of what practices to do in order to benefit you the most. So we're entering, when we start thinking about, oh, I'd like to become enlightened for all sentient beings, we're entering territory we've never been before. And we definitely need a guide. We need a guide who has experience and who's gone there before us, who knows more than we do, and become strongly convinced of the importance of a spiritual teacher, a highly qualified and admirable spiritual teacher in your Dharma life. I mean, when we were in Nepal, we had Amber, our guide, and he had a team of guides. And now, because so many people are going missing, I think there was another one just lost up in the Pokhara area. They're now talking about banning solo trekking. So important to have a guide up in the mountains to let you know when, okay, so this is a dangerous path to take right now. We need to rest overnight. You need to go down. You've got altitude sickness. You need a guide to who has experience to tell you what's the best thing to do right now for your benefit. So think about how important it is to have a spiritual teacher, because we can't do it on our own. So then contemplate the kind of spiritual teacher that you like to find. So many people just see a fantastic, charismatic, well-presenting teacher and they want to leap into that relationship without thinking, without checking. So, when you are thinking about maybe taking on a spiritual guide, check their students, see how they all behave, check their behavior. Who are their teachers? What's the lineage you're going to be receiving? So, they say in the Lam Rim, they talk about taking at least 12 years before you decide. I think we would think that's ridiculous in the West. We want to just kind of, oh, this looks like a great person. I think I'll just have them, ask them if they'll be my teacher. And you can have more than one teacher. Lamas Aprim had many, and he always referred to them as gurus. So there's these 10 general qualities of a Mahayana spiritual guide, and I'm using this book here from Geshe Acharya Tupten Loden. He was in Australia for many years. He's passed away now. So a perfect Mahayana guru able to guide students through all the stages of the graduated path to enlightenment should have the defining qualities explained in the Maitreya's ornament of the Mahayana Sutras. Rely on a guru who is controlled, pacified, completely pacified, who has more knowledge than you, perseverance, a wealth of scriptural knowledge, realizations of suchness, is skilled in teaching, has love, and has abandoned being discouraged from teaching. So the 10 qualities explained in this quotation are: 1, a mind controlled by pure morality; 2, a mind that is pacified and undistracted through the practice of concentration; 3, a mind completely pacified by discriminating wisdom; 4, having greater knowledge than the disciple; 5, having perseverance; 6, a wealth of scriptural knowledge; 7, realization of suchness, the wisdom perceiving emptiness; 8, skill in teaching the Dharma; 9, having love and compassion; and 10, having abandoned discouragement and laziness in teaching the Dharma. So they're the general qualities you need to look for in a teacher. Then there are things that you need to, also in the Lam Rim, there's things to look for to that are not good qualities of a teacher. Then there's also, then it talks about the student. So the student also needs to have certain qualities. So as long as you're looking to take on a teacher, they're also looking at you. So then, if you really are wanting to move along this spiritual path and take it like another step further, you want to find enthusiasm in your mind and an aspiration to find a qualified spiritual guide through, you open your heart, be curious and thorough, thorough scrutiny and checking. And feel the confidence and joy of finding such a very precious spiritual guide to accompany and guide you on your path. So a little technique to practice in your meditation, if you're practicing this meditation on the spiritual teacher, which is in AB4. So when you generate these feelings of joy and confidence in either looking for a teacher or in confidence in your current teachers, you can stop the analytical, reflective part of the meditation and let your mind just rest single-pointedly without distraction on this state of joy and confidence. And concentrate for as long as you can, then maybe go back to the analysis. Then you find that joy and appreciation in your heart. Focus on that as long as you can. Take it into your heart. Redirect it towards yourself. Allow the joy and the confidence to absorb into your being. And you'll find that joy and confidence in looking for a teacher or finding a teacher is going to spread into many other different areas of your life. You might start to feel hope and general enthusiasm. So just a little bit about the teacher this morning and finding a teacher. So just dedicate, if there's been any insight, any creative energy this morning for you, just dedicate that to all those people of your life and by extension, all the sentient beings. Okay, everybody, lots of love. Thank you for hosting, and I will see some of you this evening. Okay, thanks everyone.